Hey guys, Artosis here, bringing you some more CNSL Season 5. Right now we're in Group C, and we are in the winner's match in Game number 2. We have Mihu losing Game 1 against Yabsab in that previous game. Honestly, it was like a longer game and entertaining, but it really did not feel like they were on the same level. This happens sometimes, but Yabsab really controlled the entire game. And Mihu honestly didn't really look like he had too much of a shot there. Hopefully this game will go a little bit better. You know, that happens sometimes where your build goes off a little bit. A couple things go wrong. You lose a few too many SCVs. You don't adjust something just right. And you just kind of get bulldozed. Well, that's what happened. Hopefully, yeah. I think Mihu will do better here. The map is Nemesis. It's a very weird map. Of course, we've talked about it a lot with the geysers and the eggs. You kill the eggs to make the path, or you kill the geysers to close the path. Simple as that. One of the big things about this map is it has less bases than, like, any 4-player map. And don't forget that it's like a reduced geyser and reduced mineral patch. There's only 1,000 minerals per patch here. I've actually come to the thought that because the map is so low in resources, that as Terran, like, it can be hard mobility-wise to do what you want on this map because of things like Mutalisks and Niduses being so quick for Zerg to stop some of these areas that Terran may want to attack or want to expand into. But I think a lot of times, like especially against Zerg, it is about denying their resources rather than killing things, right? So I feel like if you choose the right strategy here, it can be really, really strong against Zerg. Now, that being said, let's see what the strats are actually going to be. This is a 9 pool coming out of Yabsab. He is about to have his Lings. Mihu did do this little scout up to here, and that was just to check if an Overlord was incoming. You can see it's timed out the same time this Overlord was up here, so he just knows that most likely Yabsab is not bottom left. He's going to get up here. He's going to see the Lings. And he's going to know, okay, that's like a 9 pool, basically. Let's prepare for it. And he actually starts a bunker right away. Looks like he had sent this up here already, like preemptively. He is going to need SCVs to block as well, though. This could be like just slightly dangerous, I guess. Oh, this is actually a very good block. I thought you might block the ramp there, but this should be fine. Of course, you're losing a little bit of mining time there. The Lings are kind of threatening to go in still. And he's going to want to pull SCVs away as soon as possible. See, the Singing Marine comes out, and he sends away 2 of the SCVs. And honestly, he can probably just start the command center now. This is a pretty good... That was actually a pretty good hold. Maybe this was actually like a... No, I guess it actually was 9 pool based on the Marine timing coming out. You get... Basically, when a 9 pool gets there, you have 1 Marine. So you have to be very decisive about how you block it and what you want to do next. And this is a good way, if you have an SCV in the vicinity and you can get the bunker done in time, making the bunker and making 3 Marines command center, that's very, very standard. And that's going to be your best defense. The 9 pool can't really run past that. Obviously, if they're going speed or something, it's a completely different story. Now, as you see, that 3rd base being taken, it looks like just a couple things going to work on these assimilators, but that's not going to be a problem. They're going to be able to kill them in plenty of time, and that will stop any infiltration from Marines through the center of the map. That means that the Marines will either have to be dropped off or somehow go through the main base and kill this, which isn't going to happen, or go way down here and kill the eggs and come in. A possibility, but that would happen much later in the game, so he has plenty of time to deal with these, I would say. Okay. Looking back at Mihu's side, he has gotten his gas very quickly. Is this going to be engineering bay or is it going to be factory? We're going to see in just a moment. I think both are going to be solid calls. He's making enough Marines. It does look like it should be... Well, I guess it's not going to be engineering bay because he hasn't bought it yet. He would have already purchased that. So this is going to be a very fast factory. Could be something like a Valkyrie rush. Not entirely sure yet. SCV does end up scouting that there is a 3rd base here. Layer about halfway done. Not the fastest layer. And there's the first factory. So, Academy coming up as well. So, as soon as you see the Academy as well as the factory, that tells us this is not going to be some sort of mech build. Instead, it's likely that it will end up being a Valkyrie build based on the timing of this layer. He could even do a Science Vessel rush. It's possible you could see a Wraith, but that's like very, very rare. I don't think we'll see that. My guess is going to be on the Valkyries. Those are just considered a little bit stronger as far as a rushed out unit than a science vessel. Takes a long time for science vessels to clear out harassing Mutalisks, whereas a single Valkyrie turns the tide of that battle very, very quickly. Now, looking back at Yabsab's base, we see that there's an evolution chamber. Where is this thing? Ah, you hit it in here. So deciding that this is probably the least likely area to be scanned, he starts his +1 carapace. Now, the +1 carapace this quickly tells us this will end up being Crazy Zerg. Crazy Zerg, of course, being a strategy where you are rushing past lurkers and past defilers directly to Ultralisks. Most players go Mutalisk into Ultralisk. Some players just skip the Spire, and some players get the Spire but don't make the Mutalisks because you have to make the turrets either way. Now, whatever it may end up being, there are good counters that can exist from what Mihu is doing here. You know, there are Valkyrie builds that go into mech, which are builds that can be quite strong against Crazy Zerg. A Valkyrie plus Siege Tank push can be quite strong as well, along with a lot of bio, of course. So, again, not entirely sure what Mihu is planning at the moment, but it looks like it's probably going to be Science Vessel since we don't have an armory, right? He finishes his starport. The armory should have finished at a similar time to the starport, so has to be that science facility. There it is. So that's interesting. This is like almost a more old school 1-1-1 style from Mihu. Now, there are mutas being made over at Yabsab's base. He's also already going for the hive, which is super, super fast. I actually didn't pay attention to it, but I wouldn't be surprised if he had held off starting the hive until that scan, because the scan always comes at the same time to check on the Mutalisks. So definitely could have been there. Second evolution chamber going up. That's going to be for melee attack. And wow, that's a huge commitment into that Crazy Zerg. Now, the mutas are going to fly in. There's already turrets up, right? We have 3 turrets here, 2 turrets here. Honestly, with the amount of mutas he made, this looks like a fake on the mutas. 3 turrets here. So already the amount of money spent on turrets is pretty significant. Now, the science... Ooh, science vessel. And I thought he might go tank with this, which is... It's a little bit of a risky play because it kind of puts you all in on the tank push. But here instead he goes for the second starport. So it looks like Mihu wants to go for a pretty standard like SK Terran, heavy marine medic with science vessel. But I don't think that this is going to do well for him. And let me show you exactly why, right? Yeah, that's only 4 mutas still, by the way. So that is a fake on the mutas. He's not committing at all, really. The 4 mutas are just to force turrets and scout. So anyways, take a look at how far along +1 is, okay? And take a look. +2 has already started. So anytime when you go Crazy Zerg, if you are up 1 armor upgrade, that would be like 1 armor upgrade on, you know, chitinous plating is always something that you're going to get. So we're not talking about the chitinous plating armor upgrades. We're talking about the evolution chamber. So what is the time difference between this +2 and the +1, right? So it's basically like, okay, there's going to be every 2 minutes, there's going to be like 1 minute, let's say, where there's better upgrades for Yabsab. So that really cuts down the amount of time that Mihu has where he can be on the map and actually fighting. Because it turns into a rout otherwise, either direction. If, like, for instance, if you have +0 carapace against +1 attack, Terran Rex. If you have +2 carapace against +1 attack, Zerg Rex. So yeah, I'm a little bit nervous here for Mihu. We have a lot of creep colonies set up. The chitinous plating is on the way. Greater Spire as well. And this has actually become a little more popular in the last year or so, maybe year and a half, where you can actually go ahead and grab some Guardians to put more damage out on those Marines, and they can kind of be a roaming defense. Here you see he's making them... If you try to bust here, the Guardians just fly over. Also, you can irradiate the Guardians, but those are like kind of low-value units. The Marines would just slaughter them on open ground, and that kind of sucks up their radiates in a way. Now, Mihu comes over here, but obviously can't break through. He sees that the geysers are gone. No reason to kill the eggs. You can't walk through there no matter what. Sees what's going on. And by the way, this is like super dirty from Yabsab. He double expands the corners. And when you do something like this, you actually don't care if they kill one. Because you're double expanding because you want one to get off. Now, a little drop comes out, but unfortunately for him, there's already Nidus, and Ultralisk is the ultimate counter to drops. Right now, they have the same amount of carapace. The +3 is because of the chitinous plating. But yeah, the thing is, like, drops, you can never have enough units in your dropships to fight Ultras. Ultras are all about hitting critical mass with your Marine medic count. So this is... Honestly, this looks more one-sided than the previous game to me in a lot of ways. Ooh, he saves the vessels. Very nice saves there. Don't forget that we do have these 4 Guardians off to the side. Plenty of Scourge here. You know, the Scourge, I feel like in this situation, if they can snipe a vessel, great. But another thing that they'll do, they'll zone out erasers on the Guardians. Because if there's no Scourge, you can actually just eraser the Guardians, just like you would a drone line irradiating the science vessels and flying them over. As is... Mihu has gone up to 7 racks. That's pretty good against this type of play. And he's going to Physics Lab. This is desperation right here. If you are going 2-base battlecruiser against Crazy Zerg, it's just too slow. Later on, it can be very, very good, but it has to be like a big game. Now, Scourge coming in. Oh, man. These lines are so easy to eraser, but everything is being destroyed for Mihu. Look at this. The Marines sent down, cleared very easily. There's Niduses at both of the bases. Only a couple Marines that aren't going to make any headway against the sunken colony. Mihu sends a much bigger army now. But who's to say? Like, Yabsab may just send all of his Ultras through to make sure that this can't be broken. And the longer he has these gases going, the more Ultras he gets. So, like, right now, he's got 5. He's got 5 gases. 5 gases. That's absolutely insane. That's 1,500 gas a minute. That's like 6 Ultras a minute almost. It's crazy. All right, so up come the Ultras. He does have some very good defense matrices. He has that +1 attack. And, well, I mean, this is a good clump of Marines, but look at the Ultralisk count. It's grown so large. And as soon as Ultras clear 1 army of Marines like this, I mean, look at the base count right now. It's 5 base Zerg against 2 base Terran. Like, are these Vultures going to save him? Spoiler alert, they're not. Wow. Wow. And here's the thing. Like, again, Mihu is one of the Terran players that I actually study quite a bit. I think he's a great player, and he's really got a different way of looking at the game and everything. But this is showing you, right? Yabsab has a very hard time getting into ASL. And you can see just the strength that he brings here. Just like, I think, strategically, a better understanding of what was going on. And execution-wise, beautiful. And, you know, it's amazing to see. Like, you can really, I feel like, see the difference between some of the lower-level players and some of the stronger players. Like, Yabsab is good enough. He could win this tournament. And he's definitely a player that, you know, as I've said before, I think in the next few years, he'll become an ASL regular, a staple in ASL. But here, I mean, he's demolished Mihu so hard. Look, 146 against 112. There's nothing there. There's nothing there for Mihu. There's not a strategy in the world. You could have 5 flashes working together from Mihu's position, and it wouldn't be enough. Just mathematically, this game looks like there is no way to win it. The Ultras coming out, they just surround this group of Marines. You can see the supply differential continue to build. More Marines have come down, but they're going to be picked off as well. That's it. GG. And Yabsab goes to the round of 8.